Going over the bridge to do a wedding in the AM. Okay, fine. It's 11:45, but it's still AM. Just taking a moment to soak up this absolutely beautiful October day. Nice warm breeze, sunny. I think it's going to rain tonight, but it's really nice right now. Random thoughts. DJs hype themselves up a lot. I don't do that. I tend to go more modest, but maybe I should start hyping myself up more. What do you think? Let me know in the comment section. Also, does my copy of Mr. Brightside kind of sound crappy and distorted, or is it just recorded that way? I only asked because I heard a dance version of Mr. Brightside on Utopia, and it was kind of like human. I thought it took the edge out of it. The edge is the fun part I think people like, but yeah, my copy sounds like it's falling apart when I play through my speakers. By the way, we're at the venue. Meeting Scremin Scott here. Scott!
Hey!
He's not screaming yet.
That's the crowd that's supposed to scream, Ryan.
Scott gets some screaming. Setup number one is right here. Scott's racked my stuff. There's a separate one for dinner. Okay, and this is the second setup where Scott's got the Eversates up here on sticks. He's going to do a wedding wheel. That'll be interesting to watch. And this is where they're having dinner. And they're having cocktails in here. This is where I'm set up.
Shortly, I'm going to pull the cover off of this. If you would like to see our newlyweds kiss, you're going to come over and you're going to give the wheel a spin. 20 years ago, I entertained Emily's sister, Shannon, and Jim's wedding, who are in the room tonight. And 20 years and 3 weeks later, I'm back. Thank you. It's nice to meet everybody. Milford Hills. Everybody say hi, Heidi. Hi. Nice big spin. It has to go all the way around. Either way, whichever direction you want to go.
It's the other way.
Believe.
The wheel went around several times. That was just kind of a taste of the kind of things that you can do with the wedding wheel. And it's an add-on service. He doesn't just do this for every event. People pay extra for that. What you're seeing right now is the first dances and some of the father-daughter, mother-son, that kind of stuff. After that, we did probably a good, solid 3 hours of activities and games. And the challenging part as the DJ was to follow Scott's cues. There's a lot of starting and a lot of stopping, and a lot of audio drops for sing-alongs and such that happen. And as a DJ, when I am working an event, what I like to do is get some momentum going. And once the momentum is going, it's not that hard. Imagine when I am playing for somebody else and I'm pausing after nearly every song for 3 hours for interjections and for the purpose of the games that he's facilitating, and then starting over. There were a few places in the evening, and I say a few, I'm talking about maybe a dozen places in the evening where it's like, okay, just do some open dancing stuff. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm starting over. That was hard to do. So what you're seeing now is probably just the last hour where, for the most part, I was just playing music to the audience, just trying to figure out what they liked. There were a couple of requests in there, but for the most part, I was just paying attention to what was going on in the room and playing to them. When I started doing this way back in the 80s, if you did something like Scott does with games and interaction and sing-alongs, and you were like this MC that commanded the audience, you were a very sought-after DJ. Most people wanted that. If you could just mix songs and get an audience dancing, you were actually less valuable. And you were usually an assistant DJ because everybody wanted that interactive MC. It comes from the old band days where you had band frontmen who would do things like that kind of intuitively At most any event, like a wedding or a party or whatever, you counted on that MC interacting with the audience. And it's gone away from that. But there's still an audience for that interactive DJ. Scott takes it to like level 57. He's way up there when it comes to interaction, and he does a fantastic job, and the crowd was incredibly receptive to it. This was only a 60-person wedding, and we held them. There was a fire pit outside, and a lot of people were out there, and I guess until about 10 o'clock, I think all 60 people were there. Some people went home because, quite frankly, all the activities are exhausting. There's a lot going on. Some people wanted to keep going, so we were there for them, and I was able to, for the most part, just kind of DJ without any interruptions for about an hour and a half, hour, 15 minutes, something like that. It was pouring rain when we loaded out last night, and this cap isn't watertight. It's like a 23-year-old cap. I need to reseal it. It's a job. I haven't had time to do it. But let's see what kind of damage we've got here. I tried to cover everything in garbage bags. I haven't opened this yet. I'm opening it for the very first time. What's going on? Okay, my board's wet, but not terribly. I did cover these racks in garbage bags down here, which helped a lot. I think we're in good shape. I think we're going to be okay. As I mentioned earlier, Scott's performance is not for everyone, and I understand that. But it was for this audience and this client, and they were incredibly receptive to it. Which brings me to my next point. I think there are a lot of DJs out there in the world of social media that we live in that maybe quick mix at events, or maybe they're interactive, or maybe they don't do any of those things. And they argue that their way is the best way to approach this. And anyone who's doing anything different than they're doing is not a valid artist in our medium. I think that's ridiculous. I think we're not serving ourselves very well in that regard. Because, look, for every person out there that loves what Scott does, there's a person out there who doesn't like what Scott does. But the people who like what Scott does really like what Scott does. And it's the same thing with the quick mix DJs. I got a comment last night after it was all over where someone said, I really liked your set you did at the end of the night. What I don't like is when I go to a party and they only play part of the song. You don't get the whole song. Well, that's the quick mix. They don't like it, but for a person who doesn't like it, there's someone who does like it. These absolutes where your way is the way and there's no other way is not serving anyone well. Maybe we could all learn from each other. Maybe we could all put a little more interaction in our performances. And maybe if you're not quick mixing, you can put some quick mix into your performance because it's cool here and there. I've done it. It's fun. I don't do it all night, but that's me. Maybe if you're quick mixing all night, once in a while you let a song breathe a little bit. Try it. These absolutes are not serving us well. And my other thought is, as far as the interaction goes, yeah, back in the 1980s and 1990s in Milwaukee, that was the thing here in Milwaukee. We were interactive, and if you weren't interactive, you weren't as valuable as a mobile DJ. It's different today. There's not a lot of interaction. I did more interaction before my stroke, but after that happened, I'm like, well, no, I can't go out and lead the Macarena anymore. So I'm going to have to focus on other things. I got to focus on the music, and when I turn on the microphone, it's got to be really good and concise and effective. So I changed the way that I do things, and I think it made me a better artist. I'm thinking about the way things are now after our lockdown that we had, where people are less social. Maybe there are some audiences out there who could really benefit from interaction. Maybe they need it. Even if they don't know they need it, maybe they need it. And maybe it's a skill set that some of you DJs out there who's never seen anything like this might want to start thinking about becoming more interactive. I was talking to a friend of mine a few days ago, and he said, yeah, once in a while I get a call where people say, yeah, we want an interactive DJ. And he says, well, you know, I pay attention to the audience and I play good music. I don't know how interactive that is. Interaction is sing-alongs. Interactions are kind of encouraging people to do things, bringing them onto the dance floor. And I still do a little bit of that, but not nearly at the level Scott's doing it. Scott is a completely different breed of DJ. He's amazing at what he does as far as his interaction goes. I don't know. There's more than one way to do things, and I think that's something that we need to remember, especially when we're criticizing. And maybe instead of just doubling down on what you do, open your mind a little bit and understand there's more than one way to do this, and don't hate on people because they're not doing things the exact same way you're doing them. Just a thought. And that's my video. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Practice and enjoy.